This is my fresh out of the home theater review for Obsession on 4K UHD. Now, I'm not going to get into how good or bad this movie is. I'm just going to share some of my thoughts on the audio and the video quality. So let's go over a few tech specs. This movie was shot in 4.6K. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated R. Aspect ratio is 1.5 to 1 in a 3.2 aspect ratio, or essentially a 4:3 aspect ratio. And the audio is in Dolby Atmos. Now, before we check out the audio quality, I am going to be using the Dolby Atmos Object Viewer, which is going to show you which speakers are active in your system, or in my case, in my system. Now, I am running a 12.8.6 layout, so 12 lower channels, 8 subwoofers, and then 6 top channels. And as far as my speakers, I am using a bunch of all matching Krix speakers with RBH subwoofers. And my display is a Sony Projector 8, and I'm also using a Sony Bravia 9 Mark II just to double check that the projector looks similar to the TV. And it is in HDR10, or if you're watching on the TV set, then it is going to be in Dolby Vision. Now, as far as the Dolby Atmos Object Viewer, what you're going to be looking at are the green boxes. Those green boxes are going to be the active speakers. The black boxes are going to be the non-active speakers, so they're not going to be playing any sounds. And then the yellow balls are going to be the dynamic objects, or the cluster of objects, which are basically just sound effects and maybe like music. So let's go ahead and jump into the Object Viewer and let's see what's going on in this mix. So I'm going to say for about 99% of the time, this is going to be in a 7.1.2 configuration. So 7 lower channels, 1 subwoofer channel, and then 2 height channels. Since I am using 6 overhead channels or 6 top channels, only the top middles are going to be active for most of the runtime. Now, there are occasionally for maybe 1 or 2 seconds where you will see the top fronts or the top rears click on, which is basically just going to be some music that's getting spread up top. But again, for most of the runtime, it is just in this 7.1.2 configuration. And most of the surround activity is going to be in the lower channels, which is essentially just a lot of the times you're going to hear a lot of ambiance, so a lot of crickets, which since this movie takes place at night, there are a lot of crickets happening. You can hear them chirping out in the background, which is in the lower surround channels. And then, of course, there is the musical score, and then there are a couple of songs that play throughout the movie, which do sound really good in the front stage. But then the score does round out a little bit in the top channels and then mostly in the lower bed channels. So again, as far as surround activity, you're going to hear a bunch of crickets outside. You're going to hear some stuff at the party, so people chit-chatting in the back surround channels. And then stuff at the record store, you're going to hear people kind of shopping and scurrying about in the lower surround channels as well. So basically just all ambiance in this movie with a really solid dialogue locked in the center channel. So as far as the sound staging, it's fairly wide up front and good spaciousness around in the lower bed channels. There is some pretty heavy bass drops in this movie. Whenever something nefarious is about to happen, you'll get a big bump in bass. I'm not going to say it's going to reach into the infrasonic levels, but you will get a nice jolt or a nice kick in the 30 to 40 hertz range. So not demo worthy, but sufficient for this type of movie, especially for such a low budget movie. And as far as video quality, this is a very dark movie from start to finish. The well-lit shots, which are going to take place mostly in the record store, and I also think at Bear's best friend's house, those are the shots that are going to have a lot of light in them. Otherwise, most of the stuff happens at either the restaurant, Bear's apartment, which is going to be really dark. And then, of course, the stuff outside is really dark as well. The black levels I thought were slightly raised, especially if you're watching this on your TV in a 16:9 aspect ratio. So you're going to see that the black bars are going to be definitely darker than the black levels on screen. So you will notice that the blacks are slightly more grayish looking in comparison. As for the HDR, this is, again, a really dark movie. So you're not going to see a lot of bright, vibrant colors. So a lot of muted tones, a lot of sepias, a lot of grays, a lot of blacks. So nothing that's going to jump off the screen. But there is some really good shadow detail throughout. I think since this movie was shot digitally and it is so dark, you will notice there is going to be a little bit of noise in the shadows. And I also think that they added some artificial grain throughout this movie because it is pretty grain heavy from start to finish. but it is pretty obvious that there is a grainy texture throughout the movie, despite being shot digitally. And as far as like bright specular highlights, again, nothing that's going to blind you, but you will get some nice, bright, vibrant whites coming off some of the lights, the interior lighting, some reflections, and then, of course, nothing I thought was being blown out. And for the shadow detail, I didn't think anything was being intentionally or unintentionally crushed where it wasn't supposed to be. So overall, I thought this was a really good looking movie. Again, it was shot digitally, so you're not going to get anything that's really 4K crispy. Still, great detail throughout, a little bit soft, but still solid detail throughout, especially underneath all that artificial grain. Color palette, not going to wow you, but the black levels are really nice. Color saturation, really desaturated, more like it. And then overall, just video quality, I thought was all right looking. Nothing demo worthy, nothing that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to go with an 8.1 for video. And then for audio quality, I don't think it's demo worthy, not the best horror movie this year that I've heard, but it is satisfactory for such a low budget movie. Really good ambiance throughout. Music sounded really good up front for the front soundstage. If you have really good capable speakers, I think you're going to get a really nice wide spread throughout your home theater. And then bass drops in this movie are pretty good as well. Again, not demo worthy, but they really do kick in to elevate the more tenser moments in this movie. So I'm gonna go with a 7.8 for audio. Well, what are your thoughts on Obsession? Have you seen it on digital? I watched this on iTunes on digital streaming. How have you guys watched it? Are you holding out for the 4K Blu-ray, or can you not wait? Or are you watching it on digital streaming? And what did you think about the movie overall? I believe it's still going pretty good, pretty strong at the box office. Did you like it? Did you think it was scary? I thought it was all right. Anyways, leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you thought about Obsession on 4K UHD. Now, if you do want to pick up this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on Patreon, and I'll catch you in the next one.